This energy feels coming home. Uh, like coming home, but like feeling at home. Like feeling that sense of tangible safety and relief and release in your body that you feel when you cross the threshold into your own home after a really long day. And just like that feeling of you can finally set down your things wherever you want them. You can finally get out of your work clothes. You can finally rest. Um, and it feels like a situation, a connection, an energy around you that is either currently providing or is going to show up soon that provides you with this. So if that's something that resonates with you, with where you're at or where you're hoping to go, feel free to stick around and we'll get some cards on it. See what has the deck has to say about this. So, thus far we have the Ace of Pentacles, Death, the Nine of Pentacles, the Five of Cups, the Four of Wands, and the Five of Swords. So, this is like heavy transformation energy. I think in some way to catalyze a certain like wish fulfillment for you. I think that there's a situation in which like you have been really seeking this feeling of home, of safety, of belonging, of being the king or queen or whatever type of ruler of your own castle. And I think that like there's had to be this, I'm getting like flood of transformative energy to get you to like where you need to be energetically in order for this to happen. Because on either side of this Four of Wands, we have Five of Swords and the Five of Cups, which, it's very much giving like necessary losses. Like there were things within and without yourself that you had to walk away from. And even though you may have been the one like doing the walking away, been the one who is saying, you know what, I know that this isn't right for me, I know this isn't aligned for me, like that doesn't mean that it wasn't a loss. It doesn't mean that that like doesn't warrant some amount of like grief or internal struggle, I think, because this doesn't challenge really overall your sense of like personal stability or opportunities. Like, you know that you are going to be fine no matter what. But I think that, like, on the surface, it challenges this image that you have of like having certain items on a checklist checked off in order to, almost like justify the way that you are, like justify or, you know, be like, okay, like now I can claim that I have stability, that I have success, that I have whatever this is because I, checked off all of these items on the list. And now it's like you're realizing that the items on the list, they were like almost put there by other people. And so it's like releasing ego, but not necessarily releasing your own ego, like releasing the ego driven judgments of other people that were projected onto you that, made it onto your list that you're now realizing, like, hey, these don't actually align with what I want. And like, what I want is to be stable and whole through this transformational process in a way that is conducive to like the wish fulfillment, to the growth, to the cycles that like you actually want to perpetuate. And I like that on either side of this death card we have the Ace of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles. And if you combine those two, you get the Ten of Pentacles, which is your legacy, which is like stability and foundation. And it's almost like this death, this transformation energy in the middle that is represented by whatever this kind of like wish fulfillment related to this like feeling of like being at home, stability. It's like something about that is like integrating these parts of you and bringing together this new opportunity with this previous sense of like stability and independence, for something that is like very grounded and also like very much integrates like not just your stability, your dreams, but like also those of those around you. So I'd like a little bit more information about this, like kind of Ace of Pentacles here. That does seem to be it came out over the Five of Cups. So I think that we're looking at something here that is very much like connected to opportunity coming in as you have made space for it by releasing certain things, by experiencing certain, like I said, necessary losses. So I'd like some information on like what this is, what that's going to look like when it comes in, what we can expect, and how to handle that in the most effective manner possible. Okay. Interesting. So we got the Four of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Five of Pentacles. So there's like something here about this being an opportunity that allows you to feel nurtured and abundant when you are struggling the most. It's like an opportunity that feels like rest and nurturing in those moments. Like whether that is specifically like, okay, this is a, job that I'm working that allows me like the flexibility to rest when I'm tired and to move in a way that is balanced and nurturing to me. I don't know what my cat is doing. He's trying to tear down the tapestry. Buddy, that's not very nice. Don't do that. He doesn't really like rest or stability. Not for me, anyways. Um, okay, thank you for knocking those over. Appreciate it. Um, or this is someone who comes in and who says, you know what, when you are struggling, when you need to be nurtured and taken care of, like I'm gonna do that. Like I'm good for that. One sec. You've been so good all day, and then as soon as I pull out the camera, it's time to shred the walls, destroy the altar. Swear to God, they know. But yeah, like I was saying, it's I think like something that this opportunity is something that I think may even like come to you while you are in a period of, yeah, what did I say? In a period of like trying to focus on like rest and recovery from this position of struggling, from a place of healing, and I think that you may feel like a little bit like dejected, honestly, when this comes in, a little bit like, you know, I'm getting like the sense of, you've been waiting until you feel worthy to expect this, but it's going to come to you to help you to feel worthy, to prove to you that like you always were, and to allow space for that healing and to understand that there's no there's no like conditions on this as far as the criteria that other people set for you. Because I was kind of talking about before, you having this checklist about like what it means to be successful or what it means to be good, or what it means to be whatever it is, whatever objective you've set for yourself, and realizing that a lot of the items on there, like, they aren't even yours. And, then I think being in this place of letting go of what's not yours, and even if you know that it's not mine and I don't really need that, there's still like this feeling of loss. And I think, like, it's almost like when you're sitting in that, and when you are in this position of maybe even feeling like it didn't mean anything, like the effort didn't mean anything, because I'm being drawn repeatedly to the imagery of this, like, Five of Pentacles card, that shows this ocean, with waves that look like they're kind of like going out, and there's footprints there. But, if you've ever been to the beach, obviously, you know that whatever imprints are made on the sand are pretty quickly washed away by the tide. And so I think that there's this feeling of sort of being trapped in the inevitability, but still grounded. Like, you're walking along the beach, and you're stable enough that you're not getting pulled over by the waves, but there's also like this sense of everything that you leave behind, every imprint there is just washed away. And so you have yourself, but you don't necessarily have everything else that you would like. You don't necessarily have the feeling of tangible progress. Like, you can look back and see how far you've walked, but there's no footprints there to, like, prove it. There's not like this, not like a path in the way that you would be able to, like, document on paper and show to someone and say, look, this is my checklist. Like, it's more like something that you feel. It's more like something that you are. It's more like something that you can explain through, like, your own journey, and, like, your perception of it, I think, is important. And, like, the way that you are perceiving and understanding yourself. I'd like some more information about, like, how are we being asked to respond to this? Ten of Swords, Nine of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, and the World. I think that there's something here about, you don't need to shy away from the ugly details, but you also don't need to shy away from the beauty and resilience that you've demonstrated in overcoming them. And also, I think, like, there's something about the spiritual aspect of how you've overcome that, through your connection with those concepts, those ideas, those energies. There's something here about, like, really integrating the full picture, with both the wheel and the world. They're kind of giving me, like, like, the wheel, the world representative of, like, the universe, of harmony, of completion, integration, like, and the wheel being representative of the divine, of luck, of turning points. It's the same thing. It's the same cycle. It's you seeing and embodying the universe through you. And it's like, I can't tell you exactly what that means, because this is a collective reading and it looks different for every individual. The way that they embody the universe, the way that they flow through that. But I think that, like, the common thread, the common theme is contained with this, like, Ten of Swords and Nine of Cups, which is really, like, developing that fullness, that fulfillment, that joy, really, um, in a way that almost, like, defies mental explanation, that transcends what people would expect from someone who had been through this Ten of Swords moment. You know, it's it's like whenever this comes in, it's going to come in when you're ready, when you're able to actually like embody this in the way that you need to. So like you don't have to worry about, is it too late? Is it too early? Is it too It'll be there when you're ready. And I think that like you don't need to you don't need to downplay how hard it was within yourself or with other people. But you also don't need to downplay who you are as a result. You don't need to downplay your relationship with the universe, with yourself, with any of it. It's kind of like give yourself, or anyone else who shows up, like the fullness, the whole truth, the full picture. And I think that there's something there about that fully embodied like honesty. Again, whether you are giving that to yourself or someone else, like that being a transformative factor, I think, in catalyzing certain turning points within your life, within connections that you share. It's like opening the door, um, opening the door that has room for your full self. And it's like you can't fully know what door that is until you allow yourself to, stand up straight, to embody your full shape, your full power. And then as you do that, it's like easier to, compare that against these entryways and say, okay, where do I fit? And then when you do, like, don't be afraid to go through that door. And don't feel like you have to stoop to go down through a door that was made for someone of your height anyways. It's like if you're going along a path that is truly aligned for you, then you don't need to change yourself to fit it. It's made for you. you know? Like it's really that simple sometimes. Not that that's simple. Um, what else would this collective need to know? Six of Pentacles sideways, Three of Cups, Seven of Cups, Seven of Swords, Magician. I think that right now there's still a lot of energy around you that's like it's like loose ends. It's like loose ends, and they're being tied up. But I think that like there may be some things that feel like they're not happening in the way that like you would like, or you feel like you're not quite getting as much as you need from the energy around you. Again, take it how it resonates. This could be like actually energy around you as far as people around you, work situations, whatever. But it could also just be like kind of the energy in your field, in your little aura there. And I think like that's kind of casting like this shadow across like the Magician here, with the Seven of Swords coming out over the Magician. Um, it's almost like you're seeing other people's doubts, but you don't have to make them your own. You don't have to make them your own. Um, is there anything that like needs to be done in this? Two of Wands. Um, just stick with the decisions that like you feel confident about. Just keep moving forward towards the path that you see and the future that you want to build for yourself. Um, and I think that like any energy that is a little bit murky, a little bit undecided, like it'll move where it needs to go. It's just not quite moving as quickly. But that's okay. It's still moving. it's still moving and it's going to get where it needs to go eventually. So don't worry there. And you don't, also, again, don't have to take those doubts as your own. Like, if you've made a decision, if you've made a commitment, if you have felt the confirmation there, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, um, you don't need to sit around and doubt that just because someone else is unsure about what path they want to take. And strength on the bottom, it's kind of like, you know what you want, you know who you are. You don't have to be afraid of that. And I don't think that you are. So you don't have to be afraid of the fact that other people might be afraid of that. Like maybe some people would see a woman wrestling a lion and be like, holy shit, that's terrifying. Holy shit, she's terrifying. That's okay. Doesn't say anything about you. It doesn't say anything about your capacity, your strength, or your path. So I think that's about all for this little channel here, but hopefully that helps, and best of luck with this journey. I think this is going to be a really fantastic new experience that allows you to exist in a more fully embodied and secure way. So I'm excited for you.